On Sports Central, big over March Madness game preview and prediction on the round of 32 matchup between the Kansas Jayhawks and the Creighton Blue Jays. Both teams performed well in the first round. We saw Kansas get a huge blowout win over Texas Southern, and they're facing off against Creighton, who had a huge comeback win in overtime against San Diego State. Should make for a good matchup. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup today. Starting out with your team trends, Kansas is 28-6 overall, and including their win against Texas Southern, they're 29-6 overall. They were 14-4 in Big 12 play this season and 6-4 in games against the top 25. And if you compare that to Creighton, Creighton's 23-11 overall, 12-7 in conference, and 5-6 in games against the top 25. So both teams have played pretty tough schedules. I mean, Kansas played 10 ranked teams over the course of the season, and the Big 12 obviously is a really good conference. There are several top-tier teams in that conference. And if you look at Creighton being in the Big East, also a really good conference. They've played 11 teams in the top 25 this season. Kansas has had a little more success than Creighton, but either way, both teams are definitely very talented. And, I mean, both teams honestly have had a reputation in recent history to not perform very well in the March Madness tournament, especially Creighton, who hasn't really made it very far in the tournament in a while. I mean, Kansas, of course, I mean, you could say that they're more of a disappointment because the Jayhawks have gotten some really good positions and high seeds in the tournament. They haven't really performed up to that level, but, I mean, who knows? This could be the year for one of these teams. I mean, whoever wins this game is very capable of making a run for the Final Four. Games will be on Saturday, March 19th, Fort Worth, Texas, and your tip-off is 2:40 p.m. Eastern. Spread's going Kansas here by 11.5. So the Jayhawks are favored here by a significant margin. Over-under 139.5, and your BPI is going Kansas here, 86.2%. So Kansas is heavily favored in this matchup by both the BPI and the spread. Kind of surprising, the spread especially, 11.5 points. I get it, and I can see why Kansas is favored by so much, but it kind of surprises me that it's above 10 points on the spread right now. I think Creighton, the way they played against San Diego State, maybe it wasn't the cleanest game. I mean, they had to come back and rally to beat the Aztecs, but I mean, I definitely think this could be a close game. Both teams are very capable of winning this one. And if you look at your tournament run, you see Kansas beat Texas Southern no problem, 83-56, and Creighton beat San Diego State 72-69. Here's your stat comparison for this matchup. Kansas 78.6 points a game. You can see this offense is easily one of, if not the best in the country. I mean, 78.6 points a game is outstanding. They've got multiple big-time playmakers, and I mean that's going to be huge. And I mean they had no problem putting up points against Texas Southern. They've allowed 68.1 points a game, which isn't a terrible stat, and their BPI rank is 8 in comparison to Creighton. You got 69 points a game, 65.9 points allowed. So it's kind of an interesting matchup here. You got a really good offense in Kansas against a really good defense in Creighton. I mean, where Creighton really shines is their defense. I mean, their offense is okay. I mean, at times their offense has been extremely lackluster, but I mean, their defense in particular has been the most consistent for sure, and their BPI rank is 69. Some notable matchups as well. Kansas won. They're 1-1 against Baylor, so obviously Baylor being a 1 seed in this tournament, that's huge. Getting a win against them at some point this season. They lost to Kentucky by 18. That was a bad loss. Beat Texas Tech twice, lost to them once. 1-1 against Texas, and then they beat Michigan State by 13. And if you look at Creighton, they're 1-2 against Villanova. 1-1 against Providence, 2-0 against UConn, lost to Colorado State at one point by 14, and lost to Seton Hall twice. So, I mean, you can see some of the inconsistencies with Creighton in particular. I mean, they beat Villanova, and obviously Villanova is a really good basketball team, number 2 seed in the tournament, but they couldn't ever beat Seton Hall. They lost to them twice over the course of the season. Some key points, Kansas 28-6. Dominating the first round against Texas Southern. Obviously a huge win. I mean, it wasn't surprising to see Kansas just blow them out. I mean, that's usually how the 1/16 games go or are supposed to. But once again, offense is really where this team shines. The Jayhawks have multiple playmakers, multiple key playmakers. I mean, they know how to score, and that's, I mean, the downfall of this Kansas team is going to be the game that they just can't get anything to fall. And I mean, if you look at the Jayhawks, very capable of a deep tournament run. This could be the year for the Jayhawks. I really think so. I mean, you got Gonzaga, who's going to be a really tough out, obviously. I mean, their bracket looks good for them to make a potential run, even though they got Duke in there. But even Duke, them being as young as they are, I just don't know if the Blue Devils can make a run. I mean, and then, you got Baylor, who's I don't know about Baylor. I don't know if they'll make it very far. But Kansas, I think this team has got a good chance to at least make it to the Final Four. I mean, it's very possible for this team, and Creighton, of course, could pull a massive upset and stop that from happening, definitely. But the Blue Jays, huge comeback win against San Diego State. Defensively, they've been outstanding, but not as experienced as Kansas is. I mean, the Jayhawks have got some good experience, that's for sure, and Creighton's more of an inexperienced team this season, and I can see the Blue Jays being a big contender next season. I mean, with the talent they got coming back, they're a pretty young team. So, I mean, we'll see. I think Creighton's definitely a team that is one to look out for in the future, even though, I mean, this season, the inexperience may come back to bite a bit in this tournament. But that said, let's get to the prediction here for Kansas and Creighton coming up here in the second round. I'm going to go with Kansas here. 76-67 is my predicted final score. So I think Jayhawks, I mean, it could be close for a while, but I feel like Kansas is just simply the better team. Offensively, they're better than Creighton, and I feel like Creighton's defense may hold them for a while, maybe a lower scoring first half, but I feel like Kansas takes off in the second, and they get the win here by 9, 76-67. So I do take Creighton to cover the spread, which is 11.5 points right now. I feel kind of comfortable with that. If you're into betting, I feel like Creighton's definitely. I mean, even though they really fell, they were not looking good early against San Diego State, so that does concern me a little bit. But I do think Creighton's going to hang in there. I think they'll keep it close for a while, even though Kansas does get the win here. I would say anywhere between 8 and 12. But your over-under is 139.5. I'm going to take the under for this game. And once again, Creighton to cover as well. But probability-wise, I do think Kansas. I'm pretty comfortable with Kansas winning this game. But once again, it is March, so you never know what's going to happen. But I'm going to take the Jayhawks here to get the win by 9. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this game. And I appreciate you guys watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.